Hello, Bogan here. To my fellow workers in the vineyard, worldwide, greetings. The title of today's talk is Turning the Tables Against Feminism. The talk will cover old ground, but it will also break new ground. In the end, it will join the old ground to the new in a way that spreads the map further. And if you put as much work into comprehending this as I have put into composing it, your effort will be rewarded. Now, this talk is given with newcomers especially in mind. To begin, I will take the liberty to assume that you, the newcomer, are not a feminist. Yes, I am so sure of this that I will take it as the organizing principle for everything that follows. So, if you are not dead certain that you are not a feminist, then I would counsel you to retire elsewhere until you have cemented this conviction firmly in your mind. You still with me? Very well. Since you, the newcomer, are not a feminist, I think it is safe to say that you are located in the non-feminist portion of reality. What do you think? Does that sound about right to you? Good. Now, if it will further assist your understanding, think of a hard line running straight through the middle of the human race. To one side of this line, picture a banner with the motto Feminism inscribed upon it. And to the other side, a banner inscribed with the motto Not Feminism. Are you visualizing that? All right, what you are mentally depicting is something we call the sector system. You got that? The sector system. The sector system is an efficient way to organize your thinking in terms of the larger socio-political struggle. Each side of that conceptual line is called a sector. That is the term we use. And so accordingly, we have both a feminist sector and a non-feminist sector. And friend, you and I both know which sector we belong to, don't we? The sector system is useful because it throws feminism on the defensive by forcing it to justify its own presence on Earth by answering to something other than itself. Feminism is not the world, but the feminists want very badly to convince the world otherwise. And feminist behavior toward the rest of us is very much like American foreign policy. We will bring you the blessings of our way of life, whether you ask for it or not. We know what is good for you. But again, the sector system rises up as a challenge to the feminist attitude. Yes, the hubris and arrogance of feminism has been colossal. It is a social revolution meant to encompass even the tiniest dimensions of life, and it aims to convert the rest of the world entirely to feminism. It will not take no for an answer. The feminist posture toward the rest of the world is one of sheer aggression, blended with a heavy dose of totalitarian psychology, a macro plan which they intend to cram into the micro, whether the micro wants it or not. The micro? Why, that's you and me, friend. Small is beautiful. Briefly then, feminism does not look kindly upon the existence of anything independent of itself or unequivocally other than itself. That is to say, the feminist sector aims to squeeze the non-feminist sector clean out of existence. All right, so what's wrong with that, you ask? Many things, foremost of which is that the project which feminism proposes is impossible. It cannot be accomplished. it is a falsehood from the very outset, and to impose it by force can only end in grief and calamity for all concerned. But however far the wreckage extends, feminism can never force the non-feminist sector to stop existing. The true believers of the feminist cult believe that feminist theory has the power to explain all of life universally. But the philosophers of the non-feminist revolution have demonstrated the falsehood of this over and over. These fine thinkers have plied their trade patiently and thanklessly for many years. The reason they advance so slowly is because they are voices in the wilderness with so very little power against a massively entrenched establishment. You see, what walks tallest upon this earth is not truth, righteousness, or intellectual integrity, but power, pure and simple. The powers that be know this well, and they chortle about it. It makes no matter if feminism has been discredited 10 or 100,000 times. All of that intellective work is no better than spinning your wheels in the mud if it gains you no traction in the arena of sociopolitics. So here is where the sector system turns the tables. In one clean stroke, by simply declaring itself, the non-feminist sector delivers a revolutionary message that feminism is not the world. By sheer self-announcement, non-feminism occupies space in the world and demands to know what the hell feminism plans to do about this. It is as if non-feminism were saying to feminism, "What the hell makes you think you are the only game in town?" In the end, the message of the non-feminist sector to the feminist sector is a simple, non-negotiable demand for sovereign coexistence. And what does this mean in terms of everyday practice? It means you may proclaim openly, even loudly, that you are not a feminist. Go your jolly way unmolested and quietly pass the balance of your days in a like manner. Now at first, this may not sound like anything much, but I can assure you that the moral dimensions are critically significant, and in time, those dimensions will fan out into other dimensions. As a non-feminist, you are nowise bound to answer to any feminist for your personal indifference toward feminism. That fact is immensely important. On the face of it, there is no better warrant to be so interrogated by any feminist than to correspondingly interrogate said feminist in non-feminist terms. What gives them the right anyway? Who the hell do these people think they are? Remember that you have told them nothing save that you are not a feminist, and that reveals virtually nothing about you. And so long as you say no more about yourself, they cannot possibly know more. They might think that it says a lot about you, that you would disown feminism by name, but they are just plain wrong. For they cannot possibly know what another person understands by the word feminism if that person does not explain what he understands by it. So they are out of bounds if they merely presume that the non-feminist means the same thing by feminism as they do. And they are 1,000-fold out of bounds if they draw any moral imputation from such a circumstance. We have a special counter-feminist name for this feminist presumption of shared meaning. That name is Feminist Subjectivism. Feminist Subjectivism embraces the fullness of feminism's narrative authority and may be understood as the sum total of stories which the feminists tell themselves about themselves and so are constrained to tell others. Among such stories, we may include the many conflicting, ill-defined, and incoherent understandings of the word feminism. Thus, feminist self-definition comes under the broad umbrella of feminist subjectivism and will be found to be pivotal. Feminist subjectivism combines readily and rapidly with the feminist conceit that feminism is the world, or at least that feminism authoritatively interprets the world. Thus, it is nigh on impossible for a deeply indoctrinated feminist to accurately assess people and circumstances in the non-feminist world, which, truth to say, lurks around every corner. Given that those external objects are not permitted to operate under their own laws and narratives, or not acknowledged to do so, they are transformed by the feminist gaze into a projective hallucination of feminism itself, and feminism becomes, for its participants, a house of mirrors with no windows. Feminism's projective hallucination is simply the worldly gamut of people and situations interpreted to fit feminist theory, a deterministic screen. As such, it composes the actual fabric of the wall in that house of mirrors. Such is the transformation effected by the feminist gaze. To phrase this more elegantly, the projection is not projected onto the wall, it is the wall. It is objective reality subjectivized, which is precisely what makes it hallucinatory. It is like a fantastical soap film of diluted understanding, which clings to the surface of people and situations, falsifies their nature, and blocks the feminist gaze precisely at its opaque boundary, so that the world beyond becomes impenetrable to feminist comprehension. But this opacity works only in one direction, from the inside out. From the outside in, however, the wall is transparent, even non-existent. Consequently, we on the outside can see those on the inside very, very clearly, yet cannot be truthfully seen by them. And everything we do means something different to them than it means to us. And so they would have us believe that whatever they think we are doing is in fact what we are doing. That's what they want us to believe. You see, they have never bothered to consult us about this. Apparently they know more about us than we do. Well, their delusion about us is the original sin in this scenario, the initializing transgression that started the whole charade rolling. Yes, they started it. They have built their supposed higher understanding upon a theoretical foundation that is far from settled, and therefore open to dispute. But they will not, because they cannot, acknowledge this, and, not to mince words, it means that they are living a lie. And since they are living a lie, they cannot afford to see or comprehend anything that would give the lie to that lie. That is why they cannot see past the hallucinatory wall of their house of mirrors, and why we, the rest of the world, can see them with more authority than they can see themselves. We are not encumbered by a deception from the outset. That is also why they have sewn us into the fabric of their hallucination, fraudulently turning us into something we are not, and making that falsification binding upon us. They have, to coin a new word, hallucified us, even though we are real and know that we are real. And the more we struggle to break free from this trap, the more surely we, the rest of the world, seem to become what the eye of feminist subjectivism insists upon seeing, because So far, they have the power to make it stick. We, the rest of the world, are both real and the figment of somebody else's disordered imagination. And it does not please us to be trapped in such a paradoxical hell. This concludes Part 1 of the present talk. Part 2 will be given in the recording which follows. Fiedelbogen. Out.